Hi and welcome to the ZENworks video. In this video we're going to look at some ways that ZENworks can help you reduce the cost associated with managing your endpoint devices. So how does ZENworks save you money? Well, first of all, it allows you to use what you have. You can find out using ZENworks Inventory and ZENworks Asset Management exactly what's out there. Once you know what's out there, you can then manage software usage to identify what software is and is not being used, to reclaim unused licenses of software, and also with ZENworks application virtualization to actually enforce licensing. Additionally, with power management policies, you can reduce electrical costs, and you can also leverage vPro and Wak-on-LAN to shut down and wake up your devices on schedule. That way, if people leave their devices on at night, you can shut them down at a specific time with either vPro or with a ZENworks bundle that runs something like the shutdown command. And then you can use Wak-on-LAN or vPro to turn those machines back on just before the user gets there. Finally, ZENworks, of course, helps you to reduce cost by reducing the overhead associated with having to do common tasks such as deploying software, applying security policy, performing patch updates, etc., etc. Let's take a look at how ZENworks does this. So we'll start by looking at the inventory capabilities. For a given device, you can easily see what any given device is running by selecting the device. In this case, I'll pick a Windows server, and going to the Inventory tab. You'll receive a very basic overview of what kind of software is installed in this. Here you see Windows Server 2012 Data Center Edition. If I click on the Inventory Details tab, it's going to show me quite a bit more about the hardware and software installed on this machine. So you can see all of the hardware, all of the software present. Of course, you can then also see aggregate reports. So this is a report that shows all of the Windows 7 Enterprise Edition devices in my environment and what software they're running, as well as how many installations of that software are present in my system. However, knowing what software you have is only one piece of helping you reduce the cost. This will help you make sure that you can stay compliant with your software by knowing what's out there and then comparing that against what you have with the asset management capabilities. In addition to that, we can also help you to identify the software that is unused in your environment by tracking the software usage. So this is a traditional application usage report that ZENworks can generate. And you can see here I have total hours active, which means it's the foreground window, and then I also have total actives used, which is how long is it running behind the scenes. So whether it's foreground window or not. Things like virus scanners are going to show up with high usage and low active, and it's going to be reversed for things that the end user uses. This is a really great way to see if you're over purchasing software. If you have a lot of unused licenses out there, you can get a list of the devices that aren't using them and then use a bundle to pull that software off. Additionally, with ZENworks power management policies, you can identify the power management settings that are currently effective on your environment, and then you can set up policies to enforce the settings that you want. This report here, you'll see, gives me each device in the system and then tells me whether they're compliant with my policy or not. To set up a policy, I can simply go to Policies, create a new policy, and there is a power management policy that allows me to control all of the Windows power management settings across my estate. So I can come in here and I can control the various things such as when do I turn the hard drive off, USB settings, battery, etc., etc. So I can then assign this to any portion of my environment that it makes sense, deploy that, and then use the report to track to make sure I am in fact able to apply those. The other native capabilities, probably the most heavily used, is the application management capabilities of the product. This makes it extremely easy to push out applications to users. You can simply build an application. There are a number of different kinds of applications you can build. Here I have some Windows applications that I've built. I've got several corporate bookmarks that just put web applications onto the user's desktop, start menu, a system tray, or into the ZENworks application window. I can also use this to deploy applications. You'll see the Firefox application here is an MSI application. I could use that to deploy this to 1 or 10,000 workstations very easily. I can also issue quick tasks to devices, which makes it easy to service a device right now. So to do that, I simply find the device that I need to do something to, whether that's remote control it or push some software to it, and then I can say I want to launch a bundle. I want to push something out there, or I want to remote control the device, so on and so forth. So using ZENworks, you can save costs by, number one, knowing what you have out there and how it's being used. Number two, there is a cost associated with overusage of software, potentially legal costs. So you can use the asset management capabilities to know exactly where you're at when it comes to software compliance. Number three, you can save electrical costs by implementing corporate power management policies and applying those to your users, and then using the reports to monitor their compliance to those policies. Finally, by automating common tasks such as pushing out software, applying policies, distributing images, so that your techs don't have to go out and do those tasks themselves, you'll save money in automating those tasks. Thank you for joining me. This is Jason Blackett, the Zen Guru, signing off.